Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Christian with Reaper Disc, and today we're going to be talking about one of the fastest drivers you can get your hands on, the Innova Corvette. Much like the car it's named after, the Corvette is an extremely fast distance driver coming in at a speed 14. This thing absolutely blisters if you can get it up to speed. However, if not, it can still be a very reliable high-speed driver. So coming in at a speed 14, it also boasts a pretty impressive 6 glide rating, with a mild -1 turn and a very gentle 2 fade. I did start noticing during my testing that I think the disc is closer to a -2 turn instead of a -1. It has just a little more turn than what you would expect out of a -1. However, the 2 fade still did help add a little bit of stability whenever it started slowing down. So when I got this thing out onto the test field, I've thrown the Corvette a couple times, so I kind of knew what to expect. Still, the thing is incredibly fast, and that's something I don't think I can exaggerate enough, and it always surprises me just how quickly it wants to get down the fairway whenever it's up to speed. So when thrown on a Hyzer, I accidentally released this with just a little bit too much Hyzer, a little more than what I typically do. But I was thoroughly surprised that it did flip almost all the way out of this pretty steep Hyzer that I put it on. It pretty well got up to flat, but never actually straightened out. Even though it got to a flat angle, it continued to push left before the fade kicked in and started a really nice strong finish back to the left-hand side. When thrown flat, it got over onto a turnover angle fairly quickly. This is one of those things that really leads me to believe that this might be closer to a -2 than a -1 on that kind of turn scale. It held a turnover for a good while before flattening back out and having a very gentle fade. Now when thrown on an Anhyzer, I will say this disc is very tricky. Being a 14 speed, it's incredibly fast. Therefore, it's really hard to get everything to line up properly, especially at that speed. If you're really trying to get this thing to the speed that it's supposed to be at, controlling angles is not going to be very easy, especially trying to get a big high Anhyzer. But I did my best and I tried it out. So it did keep wanting to get over onto, it kept wanting to get over onto edge and, try to come down on like a cut roller angle. And I couldn't quite find the happy medium. Eventually I did get it up and got it to hold a turnover, but I did throw it with a little bit too nose up and it ended up stalling. However, if you can get the angle right, you can count on this disc to have a really long panning Anhyzer before getting flat and fading back at the end. When thrown full power, this disc will get a good flip out of a Hyzer angle and even get over to like a little bit of turnover onto Anhyzer angle. This flipped almost immediately out of the hand, got the flat and kept flipping over and got a really long ride from left to right. As it continued to cruise down the fairway, it eventually got back to flat while still pushing forward and had a nice gentle fade at the very end. I can't exaggerate enough, this disc goes really far. Between the extra wide rim and the added little bit of glide that it has, this thing will really blister down a fairway if you can get it up to speed. So all in all, I feel like I'm going to come back to this point, again and again. This thing is extremely fast. It's a 14 speed. It's one of the widest rims that is permissible by PDGA standards. So knowing that, you have to really throw this thing hard to get it to do what it's supposed to do. But if you can, this thing is going to be a true max distance bomber, even in max weight like I have this one. I wouldn't necessarily say this is very beginner friendly. High-end intermediate to advanced players, I'd say would be more apt to be able to handle this disc and everything that's needed to get it to fly properly. However, if you do have the arm for this disc, it will go far. This could be a max distance driver or a big tailwind driver or something that you pull out during distance competitions. All in all, it's very fast, goes very far, but you have to have quite an arm to get it up to speed. If you think you have what it takes to get this thing to fly the way it should be, then head over to reaperdisc.com. You can click the link in the description of this video to go over and find a Corvette for yourself. Follow us on social media at ReaperDisc so you can keep up to date with all of our exclusive drops, restocks, and new releases. Subscribe to us here on the channel so you're the first to know anytime we drop any new content. And again, I'm Christian with ReaperDisc, and I'll see you guys in the next video.